I'm afraid of boats. I'm not afraid of the boats. I'm afraid of the water. I don't. You know what? I've told everybody this story that I once went and had lunch with Bishotti and Billick when Billick was
when he was a preening schmo,
incredibly preening schmo. But for some reason, either Wilbon and I spent some money at an auction to benefit somebody, and the result was that we had lunch with Billick and Bishotti came to the lunch with me and Wilbon, and they have big boats at the Annapolis Yacht Club, big boats. And they wanted to go out on the boat for lunch, and I said no, I won't.
You wouldn't even go out just in the little harbor?
No, I wouldn't do that. I was afraid.
So
of
you
that.
will not go on a boat?
No.
A big boat?
Bishotti's birthday was yesterday. He was 52 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I've been told that he's on a big boat because he's got a big boat.
Yeah, that dude's probably got 100-footer.
In the Caribbean, and he's having vacation on a big boat. I would not.
The SS Odin.
Do you? Do you like boats?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not running toward. I don't have a love affair with them, but I'm certainly not afraid with them. And believe me, I have reason to be. I've had some near-death experiences on boats.
When I knew I was afraid of a boat, I'd gone to camp, and I had.
Did you swim? Were you always afraid of the water?
I'm always afraid of the water. I'm not a good swimmer. I stand in pools. I stand in the ocean only up to my knees. I do not like the water. I'm scared of the water.
Although you have a beach house.
I have a beach house, but I never go to the beach. Yeah. I'm scared of the water. I think everybody knows this. I have difficulty with separation from land. I don't like bridges. I am terrified driving over the Bay Bridge. Tunnels I can live with, even though I'm always sure that they will collapse and the water will seep in and kill us all. I don't like airplanes. So the one time I was on a boat, and it was a cruise in Miami Bay for the Orange Bowl, and I was terrified, even though I could see land. I was terrified. I just don't like this. I'm so happy that I've never taken that ferry from Lewis to Cape May, and it's only like a 40-minute ferry ride, and it cuts off hours off your trip, and I'm sort of afraid that I would panic, even though I'm told you can see land all the way. Seeing land makes it easier for me.
So I'm guessing that a seaplane would probably be your worst nightmare of all time?
Probably. It'd be close.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't get on. Do you like boats?
I like boats as long as I'm not in charge of navigating them. My husband loves to sail, and I would go out with him, but I'm terrible at tying knots because I'm left-handed, so I always tie them backwards.
Tony, how are you on the Bay Bridge? Are you fine driving over the Bay Bridge?
Did you just listen to the show?
He just
30
said,
seconds ago,
bridges.
I'm terrified of the Bay Bridge.
He's okay with tunnels, but
I'm terrified of the Bay Bridge.
I hate tunnels.
Yes.
But you drive it?
Yes, I do. But
do you ever get the assist? Because they have assistance.
I never got the assistance, but my worst nightmare, and this has happened, is being dead stop on the Bay Bridge. That is for me. Water starts pouring out of me.
I've
had that.
Not only happened to me, but my engine overheated on a July afternoon.
You had to get out of the car?
My Chevrolet Vega. Had to get out of the car, had to have somebody come tow me to the gas station on the west side of the bridge.
For those of you that aren't from the area, the Bay Bridge obviously goes over the Chesapeake Bay. It's about 5 miles long, and it has a unique feature in that the sides of it, it's not like a Jersey wall. It's not a solid side.
It's open.
It's basically almost like a picket fence.
You could take a right-hand turn and go over.
Yeah, you probably couldn't, but it sure looks like you could. If those walls were solid walls.
Better for me. I just don't like bridges. I have in my life, Michael and I were driving once from the west side of Florida to the east side of Florida, thinking that since Florida was a large land mass, we were just going to go over highway the whole time. But at one point, a little bit south of Sarasota, we found ourselves on a bridge, a fairly long and modern-looking bridge, and I was sweating bullets. I just, you can't control that. If you could control your fears, you wouldn't have any fears. Your fears overwhelm you, and there's no rational way that you can deal with them. I mean, I've learned to live with that. I try to put myself in situations where I'm not going over bridges, but it happens.
How are you on the Bay Bridge? Do you have issues driving over the Bay Bridge?
Yeah. No, the Bay Bridge is fine.
What about boats? Do you mind boats?
I'm not good.
Or is it all water?
Thank you for listening. You know, and same thing in pools. I stand. I go to where it's like 4 feet deep. I jump in and I stand, and that's all I do. And I tell people all the time,
I would mow you down.
This is what Jews do. That's why we were lost in the desert for 40 years. We're not good. We're not water people. We're just not good at it.
Soup.
And yet,
you won't go in over your head in a pool.
No. And I can swim to the ladder if the ladder is within 5 strokes.
Do you allow your head to get wet in the shower?
Yes, I do that.
Okay.
I'm fine in the shower. I'm grounded.
It's water.
I'm not in the water at that point.
Seeing land
All
helps.
my friends from high school, all they ever wanted to do was get boats. And I used to say to them, read the Bible. We're not good at boats.
But didn't you swim
Don't be on the boat.
at camp when you were little in the lake?
I was a non-swimmer. I only went into areas.
Or whatever it is.
Camp Kiyuma.
Okay.
I only went into what was called the crane area, which is where the little kids
stand, right?
They could stand. There was
like the bunny slope of pools.
That's right. There was the crane area, the frog area, and the pickerel area. The crane area was for non-swimmers. The frog area was an intermediate area, but it was about 7 feet deep, so you couldn't really stand in it. The pickerel area was for advanced swimmers, and you would dive in and you would swim out to the rafts. Now, in my lifetime, this is the other thing. It's one thing to face your fears, and it's another thing to conquer your fears. It's impossible to conquer your fears. I swam out one time well after the summer season had gone, and I found myself in the camp for one reason or another, either packing up trunks and stuff like that, a job after camp. I determined that I was going to go out to the rafts. I was going to face my fear, conquer my fear, swim to the rafts, get up on the rafts like I'd seen thousands of people do with such great ease. It's only like 30 feet worth of water to get out there because they can't let you swim all over the lake.
You're going to do this solo?
I'm going to do this alone. I'm going to do this alone because I have confidence that I knew the strokes. I knew the side stroke.
Had
I knew
you
the
moved
breast
to
stroke.
frog or pickerel by then? Or are you making a leap from
advanced crane?
They let me in the frog area because there was, I guess, a drought. It was only 5 feet, and I could stand. I used to, in Color War, which is the athletic competition at the end of the summer, blue team against white team, I couldn't even be in the 20-yard race. I couldn't go 20 yards. I was terrified. So I get in the water. I walk down the ladder. I'm not going to jump. I walk down the ladder. I'm probably 19 or 20 years old at this point. It's ridiculous that everybody knows I can't swim. Everybody teases me about it. But I'm
19 or 20. I was picturing you like 12 or 13 in my mind's eye.
Like 19 or 20.
All right.
Okay.
And I managed to get out to the raft. I climb up, like a seal. I clamber, whatever that word is, clumber. I get onto the raft, and I sit there for a little while. And now I got to swim back. I can't wait for a drought. I have to swim back, and I swim back.
There was no triumph in being on the raft. It was just, oh, crap, now I got to get back.
No, I was terrified because I knew I had to come back. And I said to myself, look, I can face this fear. I can't conquer it, though. When I was in my early 20s, when I was in college, so late teens, early 20s, the people who lived next door to my parents put in a pool at a very, very tiny backyard, but because it was a corner lot, they had enough room to put in a pool. And we were invited to go to the pool, and I went to teach myself to swim. I mean, I went in a pool where I knew I wasn't going to drown, and learned the strokes, even the crawl, put my head in the water, all of that. But when I got into real water, I couldn't make any of it happen, and I hate it to this day. Pools are great. I mean, I love them, but I'm just not a swimmer. So to go out on a boat, no, and to be separated from land, like people say, let's go, you've probably gone, Gary, deep sea fishing,
yeah, sure.
15, 20, 30 miles out.
Can't see land.
No, not going to do it. From Cher, a haiku about all of my fears. A fear of swimming, boats, bridges, planes, and yarrow. Kornophobia.